Alrighty, so here we go. Today we are going to finish up the review of match week number 17 as we are going to be finishing up the review to pretty much conclude the halfway point of the MLS season in terms of games that is being played. And with the way that we're now hitting halfway through the season, this is a perfect time for me to, of course, do video related to that. Obviously, I'm going to do an emotion index and probably even do a hot seat index as well, and maybe even do a video looking at the most surprising and disappointing season as we hit officially the halfway point of the 2025 MLS regular season. And especially with the way that we also have an international break that is coming up, there's not going to be a lot of games that's going to be happening between now all the way into the middle of June. Now, that being said, let us begin by first talk about the first game, which is the Houston Dynamo versus Sporting KC. So this was one of those games where the better team actually end up on the losing side. The Dynamo was definitely better in this game against Sporting KC. They definitely generate more chances and even put up a pretty good XG against Sporting KC. But unfortunately, this was also one of those games where, yeah, the team that had most of the chances but can't finish lose the game, and the team that were more clinical in the game ends up winning. And Sporting KC was the more clinical team out of this one. And by the way, I also will not do a timestamp throughout this video because I expect this is going to be a relatively short review with me only have to look at 4 games. It should be less than 30 minutes long. But in the first half, 3 minutes in, Pochkin would rob Ponce from point blank before he denied Kowalczyk and close in the third minute. I gotta say, John Postgame, he has definitely earned his keep in these last couple of games, and really ever since this season where there were definitely doubters in the beginning of how he played, especially he has some huge shoes to fill in terms of replacing the legend of Tim Milliat, and I think he's done a really good job, especially probably the best that he's been play ever since he become the number one for this SKC side. Garcia would then puts it high on the free kick before Postcam would deny McGlynn from long range. The Dynamo definitely with a better team early on as they push to get the opening goal. And they do, as in the 13th minute, Kowalczyk would score from Linga to make it 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo. Definitely a goal of the week contention there because what a lovely strike that was from Sebastian Kowalczyk to give the Dynamo a 1-0 lead and deserve 1-0 lead as well because Houston were the better team to begin this game. Ponce then looked to try to get another, but his shot was deflected and goes wide. And then he hits it right to Postgame in the 28th minute. It was all Houston up to this point. I mean, the Dynamo had more of the chances they were pushing to try to get another. But the question is, can they solve Postgame? Well, apparently not in the 38th minute because he denied Dorsey as he was in on goal. Postgame was the only reason why. This is still 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo. If it wasn't for him, this probably could have been 2 or 3-0 in favor of the Dynamo. Miller then had a rare opportunity for Sporting KC, but he heads it right to Bond. But then the third minute stoppage time, just as we thought that we were going to head to halftime with the Dynamo leading 1-0, Joveljic would score. So he scored here in the third minute stoppage time, really the last kick of the first half to tie the game up at 1 apiece, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half, and just an absolute backbreaker for the Houston Dynamo. They play so well for pretty much 45 minutes of this game, and yet the scoreline says 1-1 heading into the second half. And that kind of gives the visitors some confidence because Bond would then deny Joveljic from close in the 47th minute before Dorsey hits it right to Polschkamp. Thought it was a lively start to the second half as well. Both of these teams were pushing for the lead, and Sporting KC would get that lead in the 52nd minute as Joveljic would score again. This time, scoring to make it 2-1 in favor of Sporting KC. Miller actually hits the post here, but it falls right into the path of Joveljic, who was Johnny on the spot to clean up the mess. And just like that, Sporting KC has a 2-1 lead, despite the fact that, like I said, the majority of the first half, it was in favor of the Houston Dynamo. Bond then had to deny Fernandez from close before McLean would hit it right to postgame. Urso then missed wide from close in the 73rd minute. Dynamo continued to push to try to get the equalizer. Sporting KC were looking to steal one in Houston because, yeah, up to this point, I thought the Dynamo was still the better team, and when you also look at the stats and XG, they were still heavily in favorites in this one. Andrade would then hit it wide from close before McGlynn would miss wide from long range, and you just kind of had a sense that there's that feeling of it's probably not going to happen for Houston in this one because they've been so wasteful for this game. Lack of finishing definitely being the culprit of it not being the Dynamo night. Ponce would then miss wide from close in the 87th minute, but then in the 88th minute, Santi Munoz would shut out the lights at Challenge Stadium as he scored here from Shawi and Bassan to make it 3-1 in this one. It's his first career MLS goal, and one that I mean I feel like Bond probably could have done better in terms of he did get a hand toward this one. I mean it was hit pretty well from close range, but when it the way that that ball kind of hit near where Bond probably could have parried out. I feel like he could have done better, but nevertheless, Sporting KC wouldn't care. They were up 3-1 up to this point, and that would be the final score of this game. As really, this again, it's one of those games where the better team did not come out on the winning side or even get a point out of this because of the lack of finishing. The shots in this one kind of proves it. 22 shots for the 12 that Sporting KC had, 9 shots on goal for the 6 that Sporting KC had, 1 shot off target for the 8 that Dynamo has 5 shots that was blocked for the 4 that Sporting KC had, and possession wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that Sporting KC has in this game. And there's no doubt that Ben Olsen's side will be very frustrated out of this game. I mean, they were the better team, they had more of the chances, and they really played well in this game, besides some defensive mistake throughout this one. I mean, the attack, this was probably one of the best that I've seen this attack has looked this season. They just cannot finish. I mean, you got to put away those chances, and also you shouldn't be conceding free goals in a game, because anytime when you concede free goals in a game, there is a very highly likelihood that you're probably not going to get all 3 points, let alone a point out of this game. Now, moving on in the next match. Speaking of bad finishing, so this was another game where the team that had bad finishing will be left very frustrated coming out of the game. Though the good news, at least with the Union, unlike the Dynamo, at least they get a point out of this game. But you gotta say, this was one of those games where Philly probably should have won this one. Dallas, they kind of continue that narrative of being a high power attacking team, play some entertaining brand of soccer when they're playing on the road, but at home it's been kind of the complete opposite. Though I will say that they were handicapped for about 55 minutes in this game with it being down to 10 men, and they had to survive a lot of pressure that the Union were putting in throughout this game. Now, in the first half, Donovan would headset onto the roof of the net before Delgado missed just wide from long range. Julio was then in on goal there, but he missed that one wide before Bedoya would put it wide from close range, as it was very end to end to start this game. It was a very lively start to start this game, as both of these teams was pushing for the opener early. Wagner would then fires it high from long range before Bedoya would loot one over from close in the 33rd minute. In the 38th minute, Donovan would head it wide from close range. The Union continue with some sustained pressure and trying to get the opening goal. And then in the 38th minute, we saw a red card happen, as Bubakar, of course, gets a second yellow here. And yeah, you cannot make that foul, especially after you just got a yellow card 7 minutes a goal. You cannot afford to make another foul that stop a promising transitional attack. Though I will say that if Seattle fans actually watched this moment, they would definitely be very upset of what happened in their game, where Marcanic kind of did something similar to what Abubakar has. And yeah, like I said in my review yesterday, when I talked about the Sounders in Minnesota, I thought Marcanic got really lucky. The fact that he didn't get a second yellow of committing pretty much the same foul in quick sequence. And here, unfortunately for Lawless Abubakar, he doesn't get that pass. He was sent off in this one. Dallas would down to 10 men, and the Union tried to take advantage immediately, as Diamane would head it wide from close in the 44th minute before John Jack would miss wide from long range. In spite of boatload chances for the Union, it stayed scoreless heading into the second half. Though in the second half, it was more of the same. Diamane would then head it onto the roof of the net before the post would deny him on a free header there. And again, it just feels like it was almost a repeat of what we saw near the end of the first half. The Union continued to press hard to try to get the lead. This feels like it could be a long 40 minutes for Dallas. You can clearly see this is a team that it is struggling while they're down to 10 men, and just trying to hold the fort as long as possible. Though I said that they did had a chance in the 57th minute when Julio was in on goal there, but he was denied by Rake before Musa would hit it right to Rake in the 63rd minute. And I thought Dallas did a good job in terms of sustaining the original pressure. I mean, there was heavy pressure that they were under in the beginning of the second half, and now look like they were trying to steal one and maybe get an opening goal against the odds. Though I say that, but the Union immediately pressed to try to get the lead again. Pass would deny Lukic from close before Diamani would put it wide from long range in the 68th minute. By the way, the save from the Lucas shot, little do we know that would be the only shot on target for the Philadelphia Union, and that would be the theme in this game, where they were putting a lot of shots in this one. They were missing the target left, right, and center. Diamani then hits it wide from close in the 74th minute. The Union was once again ramping up the pressure, trying to get that crucial opening goal, but the question is, can they do so? Because so far the finishing has been lacking, and that's saying it kindly too. In the 76th minute, Vasilev would puts it high from long range before Diamani would puts it wide from close range, and then he missed an absolute sitter on the doorstep of goal. I gotta say, of all the players that really struggle in terms of finishing, Diamante is gonna be one that he's gonna have nightmares after this game of how many chances that he blew in this one, and that one that he missed a sitter, that was probably the worst one. I mean, he absolutely should have put that one into the back of net, and a moment that again just kind of sums up the Union tonight. They just could not finish despite the fact that they put a ton of shots and definitely put a pretty high XG number because in the end, it ends in a scoreless draw in this one. And the shots in this one, 20 free shots with the 7 that Dallas had, but only one of them was on target. I mean, this is something you usually don't see very often. I would say that this is kind of something similar to what I see with Adrian Heath Minnesota side, where they would put like a lot of shots in the game, but they just couldn't put it on frame whatsoever. And as a result, that's kind of the number that they got. And when you look at the shots off target, I mean that is insane. 16 shots on target compared to the 4 that down. That is probably by far the most shot off target I've seen so far this season by any team, and probably in quite some while as well. 5 shots that was blocked for the one that Dallas had, and possession wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that Dallas has in this one. And with the way that the East is definitely a little bit crowded right now, even at the top of the standing, it's started to crowd up again. These are kind of the points that the Union cannot afford to drop. I mean, this is a game that they absolutely should have win in terms of them having a man up for a majority of this game, and especially against the Dallas side that struggle at home this season. They have to win this one. They have to get all free points in this one. I mean, I will say that what this game maybe lessened the pain is the fact that at least they got that crucial 3 points against Toronto. Because imagine they didn't get 3 points against Toronto. This would have been even more frustrating if you're Bradley Carnell side. But last, if you wanted to finish at the top of the standings or at least compete at the top of the standings, these are kind of the games that you have to win if you want to maintain yourself at the top of the standings. And the Union will definitely be viewing this game as one of the games if they don't finish near the top of the standings or even finish first by a point or two. This might be a game that they might look back that they drop crucial points that they probably shouldn't have if their finishing was better in this game. Now, moving on, we got San Diego versus Austin FC. So now looking at a Western Conference matchup in a matchup that, yeah, this was no surprise. I mean, San Diego, it took a while for them to finally find the goal, but once they find the goal, it was pretty much game over for Austin because we know this team cannot score a goal to save their lives. They're one of the lowest goal scoring team this season. Now, in the first half, first shot of the game came in the 5th minute as Stryer puts this one wide from close before Pereira would puts it wide from long range. Not much really happened, at least in the first 15 minutes of this game. Only one shot apiece for both of these teams. Vasquez would then puts it over from long range before McNair would heads it over from the corner. Lozano then missed wide from long range as the shots were 3-2 for San Diego up to this point. And then Aviado tried to do a goal of the week contention and maybe even the goal of the year contention as he was going on his bike there, but missed that one onto the roof of the net. That was definitely not a bad effort. I mean, of all the bicycle kick attempt, that was one of those ones where he actually hit it pretty well, but just couldn't quite put it on target. Dwyer would then miss wide from close in the 40th minute, as San Diego was definitely gaining some steam in this game, trying to press for the opening goal. Suver then denied Godoy from long range in the 43rd minute, and despite the fact that San Diego had some opportunity in the first half. We had to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Dos Santos would tip Vasquez shot over before Dreyer would miss an absolute sitter from close range. He was shouting for a penalty, even though it was pretty clear that he tripped himself in a vital moment. It actually hit off of his face. I mean, yeah, that is definitely not a moment that Anders Dreyer would want to look back. The good news is his teammate picked up the slack because just 1 minute after that horror miss from Dreyer, San Diego does get the opening goal as Luca Del Torre he scored from Lozano and McNair to give San Diego a 1-0 lead. It was a lovely build up there from San Diego, something that I think after this moment, do not be surprised we might see more of this from Tuki Lozano. This is kind of the reason why you bought him, and he is the guy that pretty much run the show at least on the attacking end. But still, despite that, that was just not great defending from Austin. I mean, with how well they defended this season, that was one that they just got cut completely open by the San Diego team. Pereira did look to respond, but he hits one right to Dos Santos. And really, as the time winds down, Austin, they try to muster a chance, but really do so because San Diego was doing very well defensively, and also we know how Austin this season, when they're playing from behind, it's usually not doesn't bode well for them because they don't really have a lot of attacking threat. Ingwertsen then had a free header there, but he hits this one right to Stuver in the 90th minute. But in the second minute of stoppage time, Eloski calls game. He scored from Dreyer to make it 2-0 in favor of San Diego, and that would be the final scoreline of this game. As the shots in this one, 13 shots for the 8 that Austin had, 2 shots on goal for the 4 that San Diego has, 6 shots off target for the 3 that Austin has, 2 shots that was blocked for the 1 that San Diego has, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to the 41% possession that Austin has in this game. Pretty convincing win there from San Diego, and then one of those kind of games where it kind of got according to the script. It doesn't usually happen in MLS like that, but San Diego take care of business against an Austin side that, yeah, they're in purgatory right now. And again, I think Dallas fans are basically warning Austin fans in a big way that this is kind of the style that makes Dallas fans really frustrated about Nico Estevez last season, and it's kind of the reason why they decided to let him go last season. But finally, last but certainly not least, the LA Galaxy. They did it. They finally get their first win, and I think it's fitting the fact that when I wear their jersey in the preview, the fact that maybe this could be used as a good luck for them to finally end this winless run, and indeed that of course is the case. I mean, to be fair, I had confidence that they finally would end this first, considering that they actually have been playing pretty well in these last couple of games. They've been very unlucky. I think when you look at the performance that they have in the month of May, and that just unfortunate situation that kind of got completely gone against them. But for once in this game, there were times where we saw the LA Galaxy of the old, especially the goals that the Galaxy have scored. We saw the LA Galaxy of the old with the way that they've been so dangerous with the transitional attack. Now, in the first half, Gozo with the first shot of the game, but he hits this one that actually was robbed by Vukovic in the third minute before Cabral on the other end denied Nascimento from close range. It was definitely a lively start to this game. Very end to end, very similar to what I saw in the game between the Quakes and the Galaxy in the Cali Clasico on Wednesday. But then in the 17th minute, the Galaxy takes the lead as Sanabria would score his first career MLS goal from Nascimento and Nelson to give the Galaxy a 1-0 lead. Keep in mind, the Galaxy is 0-1-3 when they score first this season. So scoring the first goal usually doesn't mean that it's a good thing, but hey, you get off to a good start to this game, and you're thinking maybe this is finally the time that they end that winless run. Gozo did look to respond, but he hits it right to Makovic before Marchuk puts it wide from close range. I thought it was a good response for RSL. They were trying to look to get the equalizer, though Peck would hit one right to Cabral before the post would deny Gozo from long range in the 42nd minute, and we head to halftime with the Galaxy leading 1-0. But the question is, can they get another one or even see this out to finally end the curse this season? In the 46th minute, Junko would miss wide off of a deflection before Makovic would deny Marchuk from long range. RSL definitely started the second half better, and this is kind of where I started had some concern about the Galaxy with the way that, yeah, I've seen this story before where they let the game kind of go or rise, and next thing you know, RSL might find a chance to get a couple of goals to continue this winless run. Palacio tried to get that equalizer, but he hits it right to Makovic. But in the 55th minute, the Galaxy gets that second goal. It's Josip Painto. He scored to make it 2-0 in favor of the Galaxy, and that looked more like the Galaxy of last season. Last season, one of the reasons why the Galaxy was very successful is the transitional attack, and the killer peas, of course, were definitely a big part of that. And even though they are still missing the vital part of the killer piece in Ricky Puig. This was kind of more like it with Peck setting a through ball to Painto. We know Painto is very dangerous when he gets into the transition, and when he gets into open space, you better get out of the way because he's probably going to find a way to score. And while this season, we've seen it happen this year, and it hasn't really kind of come off him because he's in a bad run of form. He finally scored here to end that. So yeah, that made it 2-0 in favor of the Galaxy, and you're just thinking, can this finally happen? Can they finally end this drought tonight? And I say, can they finally do so with a big question mark because we were in the same situation when they were 2-0 up against the Philadelphia Union earlier this month, and yeah, things kind of went sideways after that, and them kind of go for a bit of a meltdown in quick succession. So this is where I'm just thinking, yes, as much as the Galaxy have a 2-0 lead, they cannot allow a goal back for RSL, because once they do allow that goal back, that's when the doubt really started to creep into this Galaxy team. Peck then looked to try to make it 3-0, but he hits it right to Cabral before Vera missed wide from long range. Caliscan then puts it wide from long range in the 85th minute, and it really, as the time winds down, you just kind of had a feeling that it might finally come to an end. I mean, I know we have seen some ridiculous of stuff that has just kind of came out of nowhere and completely gone against the Galaxy. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they would have blown this 2-0 lead and RSL scoring two late goals. I mean, that just kind of sums up the misery that this Galaxy team has. But you just kind of had a sense maybe it finally is going to come to end. That 3 month frustration of them chasing their first win of the season might finally happen. But in the 4th minute stoppage time, the post would deny Agata in the near post. But in the end, for the first time this season, and after 16 game of misery, and after easily the longest winless start to begin the 2025 MLS regular season, and in general just MLS season in general, the LA Galaxy have finally got a win. They get the 2-0 win against RSL. They're finally on the board in the win column and becoming the last team to do so. And the shots in this one, 20 shots compared to 9 that the Galaxy had, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that RSL had, 5 shots off target for the 2 that the Galaxy had, 2 shots as block compared to 9 that RSL has, and possession wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that RSL has in this game. And, with this win, now let's see if they can get things on a roll. I believe they are actually playing during the international break, so there could be a chance where they could get back-to-back wins, especially with the way that the opponent that they might be facing could be missing a lot of key guys, especially as we head into June as well. I don't think they're going to be missing too many starters in terms of the June international break and the Gold Cup FIFA Club World Club break that we're gonna get in this next month or so. But yeah, this could be a chance. Maybe finally that not only this curse has ended for the Galaxy, maybe they can build on this. I mean, I will say this: I still think that they won't make the playoffs this season. They're just dig themselves way too deep into the season to maybe have some hope. But you got to say that with the things that have gone wrong for the Galaxy for this season, and really just this last month or so, just endless bad luck and endless curse that has gone completely sideways for the LA Galaxy. You got to feel like this has to be a great watershed moment this season, and maybe kind of a turning point for them this season as well, to finally get that first win, finally take the weight off the shoulder, and finally give some confidence for this team that I guarantee you, if they would have lost this game, or somehow find a way to blow a 2-0 lead again in this one, the confidence level will be pretty much rock bottom, as it's pretty much been the case in the month of May. But for RSL, well, talk about rock bottom. I mean, if they haven't hit rock bottom before, this is kind of the moment. I mean, you usually never want to be that team to finally end a long winless run, and yeah, for RSL, I don't know what to say. It is just been a miserable season so far, and I don't know if just getting a number 9 on this team is going to fix the issue. I mean, they've been saying that they're going to do so. I haven't heard of any rumor that they're of course going to get that, but I think there's deeper issue with this team than rather than just finding a number 9. I mean, everything has just completely fall apart for this RSL team, and that self belief of the team is the start that we saw last season. That was really good for this RSL team. It's just not there right now this season, and this is another resort to prove that. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review for the last 4 games of match week number 17. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these games, and as the fact that we're going to have a June international break, and with the way that we're not going to have a lot of games that's going to be taking place. As I said in the beginning of the video, I'll do some videos in these next couple of days. Maybe do a video looking at the most surprising and disappointing team at the halfway point of the season. But I'll definitely be doing an emotion index, because we're now at the end of the month, and usually when we're at the end of the month and heading into a new month right now. Well, we're actually in the new month right now. The calendar has turned to June, but as we usually do, as the new month turns, we usually do an emotion index, and I'll definitely be doing that tomorrow. Looking at all 30 MLS fan base and feel how their team is looking as we hit the halfway point of the 2025 MLS regular season. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.